So it's been 5 years since I last covered Warframe's first proper beast. So today we're taking a fresh look at Rhino, but not your typical Rhino. No. I wanted to mess around a little bit outside of the usual meta setups. Fun being the key word here. Outside of his parasitic armor build that stacks millions of Overguard, or the Nourish setups that you see a lot of people using for added viral. We're going a little bit off script, and I know a lot of you already have weird subsumes that you like throwing on Warframes just for fun. So let me know in the comment section below what Warframe and what off-meta subsume is your go-to fun setup. For me, my Rhino, he's got extra mobility on top of his insane survivability, and of course that damage boosting that he gets from his roar ability, turning him into something that he was probably never meant to really be, a bloody freight train made of ice, the cold train. I don't know why I'm getting Gears of War vibes in my head there. So all aboard the Orokin Polar Express. Keep your arms, legs and any sense of dignity that you have inside at all times, because Rhino doesn't care about speed limits, doesn't care about your personal space, and definitely doesn't care about Grineer life expectancy. Now, Rhino was added into Warframe back in October 25th, 2012. He is the original tank, right? We all know him, big lad, built like a fridge, tanky enough to shrug off a nuclear buttload of damage, but if you slap an ability like Lavos' Vile Rush onto him, suddenly he becomes this ice-skating murder fridge that he was always destined to be. Sure, Rhino already has his charge ability for gap closing, but Vile Rush adds a little bit of crowd control with those cold vials exploding around him, and it is, like I said, bloody good fun. You can amplify his mobility that little bit more by adding amalgam mods to your weapons that can increase his sprint speed or his dodge speed. Then there is incarnate evolutions from weapons like the Okina Prime or the Praetos, which will increase his parkour velocity or sprint speed as well. And then you've got the Velocity Archon shards, and he will become ridiculously mobile. Now, if you still want to build your Rhino for parasitic armor, you can. That build focuses on strength duration and a bit of shields, so that you can sacrifice them. Cast parasitic armor, which will sacrifice your shields, then charge into a big group of enemies, then cast Iron Skin, and you're harder than your average Wisp Enjoyer. Now, if you're new to Warframe and you're new to Rhino and you don't have the fancy mods yet, then don't worry, you can stick with a very simple beginner build, something like this, until you get those mods that will allow you to build the more powerful versions of Rhino or Rhino Prime. Now, like I said, Vile Rush is one of those off-meta kind of subsumes that I do like to put on a few different frames just for that added mobility. Then there's other subsumes like Omamori from Kome that I enjoy using, or maybe the goated one from Nova, which of course is Nullstar, which is a phenomenal subsume. But with the Vile Rush setup, the playstyle completely changes with your Rhino. You skate forward, you drop explosive vials that deal pure cold damage. Cold, of course, slows enemies, keeps them in place, and increases the crit damage that they're going to take depending on how many stacks of cold they have. And having enemies frozen in place makes them really easy to deal with. Now, of course, you could use a companion or a sentinel, and that's going to freeze a lot of enemies with Verglass Prime, but this is just a good bit of fun. So the gameplay loop is very satisfying, right? You cast Roar to buff your damage, you Rhino charge into the largest group of enemies that you can possibly find, and then if you've got the Ironclad charge augment equipped, which you probably should have, each enemy hit is going to temporarily boost your armor. Then when you cast Iron Skin with enough enemies, you're going to get hundreds of thousands of Overguard. Of course, like I said, if you have parasitic armor subsumed, that would be in the millions. Vile Rush then through the surviving enemies, freezing them in place and then just mopping them up. Now, for my build, you can ignore the amount of forma I have on my Rhino because I've had him for years, and over the years, as he's had reworks and changes, I of course have reformatted him to accommodate that. So this is my cold train Rhino build. Okay, growing power, of course, for additional power strength, power drift for more power strength and chance to resist knockdown. Not that I'm really going to need that with Overguard on. Blind rage, power strength, umbral intensify, power strength, prime continuity for duration, ironclad charge, which is one of the staple parts of this build that's required, which is going to give me, I guess, Overguard in the hundreds of thousands. Then I've got Archon stretch, which you can use normal stretch if you want to, but my companion is going to be doing electric damage, which means it's going to proc this, which is going to allow me to get a decent amount of energy. And considering I have got Arcane Battery, my energy pool is going to be about 1,100 and something, just under 1,200. Then I've got Hell Conversion, which is going to give me way more armor, which is going to allow me to get way more Overguard. Then I've got Equilibrium to allow me to, I guess, double dip on health orbs and energy orbs. And then Augur Secrets is a bit of a flex pick. You can put whatever you want in here. I've decided to do this just for additional power strength. Now you've also got Molt Augmented, which is going to give me more power strength. And like I said, I've got Arcane Battery, which is going to allow me to have an energy pool of around 1,200 because this, as well as the ammo pool I already have, are going to combine to give me as much energy as possible with Arcane Battery. Now, you can feel free to switch in or out any mods that you want to. If you want to have a different aura slot, go for that. If you want to change some of the mods out to fit your own playstyle, then by all means go for that as well. This is basically just a template for you to, I guess, mess around to find the playstyle that suits yourself. You can also switch out the Arcanes to put other ones in. I actually had got Arcane, I think it was Arcane Eruption in here for a bit just to see what it was going to be like, and it was quite funny. Enemies were constantly just lying on their backs while Rhino was just, I guess, crop dusting them with Vile Rush and it added another little bit of a layer, I guess, of extra fun to the build. So you could do that if you wanted to. Now, like I said earlier, it's not exactly going to get you the Overguard in the millions that this build will basically get you, because you're using parasitic armor, and every time you sacrifice those shields you're going to get insane armor values, but it is really, really good nonetheless, and it's a lot of fun to, I guess, try different abilities when you subsume them on, whether you want to use Nourish or parasitic armor, or if there's something else you want to put on your Rhino. By all means, let me know in the comment section below, but I do find this one to be enjoyable. Now, as far as weapons go for your Rhino, you can pretty much bring whatever effect you want, your most powerful weapons or the weapon you enjoy the most, because he is a weapons platform frame. His roar is going to boost the damage that you throw out with your weapons, but you could lean more into cold weapons with the Tentaclaxian. You could go with something that's explosive like the Ogress with the Napalm augment, which is absolutely phenomenal with it. Or you could use shotguns like the Incarnate Strun, the Felarx, or the Corinth Prime, since it is kind of one of the OG shotguns, and it sounds awesome as well. Now, while Rhino himself was added into Warframe in 2012, Rhino Prime made his way into the game 2 years later on March the 5th, 2014. But his lore is a reminder of what Warframes originally were before Tenno eventually gained, I guess, the power to control them. So if you picture this, there is an Orokin lab, all gold trim and terrible lighting, and in the middle of that lab is a hulking monster that is chained down. The scientist is muttering about prototypes and how he has rejected them before, countless versions of them, but he's never seen a beast like this up close. Then, bang, the beast surges forward and reduces the security team into crimson mist, and in the middle of all of that carnage, this proto-Rhino is left standing there staring at his own hands after he's just shoveled a load of the security team into his mouth, because like I said, he is a mindless beast. But all the time while this is happening, the scientist is standing in the background, kind of frozen, unable to move, and he knows that he is about to die, until of course Tenno takes over and gains control of that Warframe. Now, 3 years ago I made a Rhino Prime lore video, and I got Lucas, who is the voice actor for Tyler Rhaegar, and of course Nathaniel in Warframe, to do the voiceover for that Rhino video. And to this day, it is one of my favourite projects that I have worked on, I guess, in the 10 years that I have covered Warframe. So I'm going to play it out at the end of this video, because I know there'll be a lot of people who haven't seen it, because YouTube tends to do that, where a video when it's first released will be popular, but then over the next couple of weeks and months it will drift off and it will stop getting views because YouTube stops recommending it. So I'm going to play it so you can see exactly what Rhino Prime was originally in the eyes of the Orokin before that Tenno took control. But look, like I said, this isn't the most meta Rhino video you're going to see out there. That's still going to be parasitic armor or a Nourish setup. But this is a fun kind of build, and maybe putting things like Nullstar on him, not that he really needs something like that, or even Kome's Omamori for heals would also work incredibly well. But like I said at the start of the video, let me know what other off-meta subsumes you enjoy putting on frames outside of, I guess, the go-to ones. That's if you even enjoy using the helmet, because I know there's plenty of players that don't, and that's 100% fine as well. Either way, I hope you enjoyed the video. Have a great day, have a great week, and as always, thanks for watching.
Red lights flashing on stark white walls. Davis is running ahead of me, dropping his notes. We're running for our lives. The fear gives me a strange perspective. I'm out of my body. I've forgotten how I got here. I don't recognize this place. Davis and I slam pinned against a cell door, and he shouts at me. I give him a dumb look. I can't hear him, the sirens, anything. Only the muffled throb of terror in my head. I turn away from Davis down the hall, and I see it. The hulking mass, flickering red, glinting like steel and fresh blood. Its skin changes, flowing like mercury, when I'm blinded by the sudden muzzle flashes. They do no good. The beast surges forward, and the security men become crimson mist and gore. I'm a statue, a cornered animal. A gate opens inside me, and recognition floods in. I've seen this monster before. I have cut its shell and eviscerated its brothers. I have given it pain and measured its response. I have crafted, then rejected countless like it. But I've never seen this beast so close, without the shield, without restraints. I have never seen it free. I know I will die. So I just watch with curious acceptance. The beast squats down, shoveling a heap of gore into its mouth. It is watching me with vague eyes, a sense of recognition, ancestral memory. It knows who I am and what I've done. It rears up like a bear and roars, shattering the lights and casting us into darkness. I can hear it lumbering toward me, its metal fingers rending the walls. But I know I am dead. I close my eyes and stand ready to pay. I feel the pull on my arm and realize Davis got the cell open. He tugs me into the cell beyond, and I fall on my back. I see Davis standing at the open door, waiting as the monster tears towards us. Suddenly, I could live through this. I shout, "Davis, close the goddamn door!" But he shakes his head, eyes wide as moons. He shouts, "Watch!" over the roaring and rending of metal. Then, silence. Davis is panting, laughing. The beast fills the doorway, inches from him, dripping in blood, but still without violence. It stands there, looking at its hands. Davis whispers, "No one would have believed me." I crawl up the wall to stand opposite the door. I've never seen this cell, a cold place with an array of shelves. A morgue? Where are we, Davis? This is where they keep them. The ones from Zariman. I'm thrown. What was the Zariman? The ship that never returned? Davis, what's going on? Davis turns to me, a smile forming. What's going on? He turns back to the beast, now silent and calm. His big fat promotions.